So, this has been my hardest review so far, even for the small number of reviews I did up to this point. I began writing this one a few times, I even started recording it, but eventually I stopped. Every time. The question is, why? And it actually took me more than 1.5 years to get to a point where I'm able to answer this question. But let's start from the beginning. 7 long years passed between Where Shadows Forever Reign and its predecessor, Angelo Exuru Pro Eternus. 7 years where Dark Funeral's former frontman, Emperor Magus Caligula, left the band, and where the second replacement for him, who is known as Helha Madre, became the new permanent singer. Besides establishing him in this role, the album marks the end of the band's orange-reddish covers and returns to the black and blue scheme they had on their strong first release, The Secrets of the Black Arts, back in 1996. Does this mean that this record marks a return to their musical beginnings from over 20 years ago? No. The Secret of the Black Arts has been a strong release back then, and it still is an album to which you can return to every now and then. But nonetheless, the band made many steps away from it, compared to the releases that came after Diabolus Interium, including this very record. They added more variety to their songwriting in terms of tempo and in terms of melodic elements. If one knows the band mainly as a blast beat focused high-speed black metal band, it can be quite a surprise, to be honest. It's the same effect Marduk may trigger, just as a comparison. So, this variety can also be found on this record. For example, the opening song, Unchain My Soul, has insanely fast blast beat parts with some groove thrown in here and there. It pretty much shreds its way through the speakers. Temple of Ahriman, on the other hand, is kind of the opposite, because this song's heart is not pure speed, but a down to mid-tempo approach, and it includes the best refrain of the album. It is precisely this combination that sets the song apart from the others on this record, and this is also the reason why this is my favorite. Both songs are pretty strong ones, and this continues over the greater part of the album. Nail Them to the Cross, or the title track, Where Shadows Forever Reign, just work in the usual way Dark Funeral songs do. The only really downside I found for myself is As I Ascend. This song could be good if the length of around 6 minutes would be cut in half. It is, same as Temple of Ahriman, rooted in the down to mid-tempo regime, but unfortunately a problem becomes apparent which also is a part of the answer to the initial question. The song's structures are very easy, a bit like pop. If single songs are highlighted, this is usually not a problem. Sometimes because they are short or they have interesting melodies or whatever. Both is missing here. The riffs are simple, which is not necessarily a problem. Just listen to AC/DC. But due to their length and their repetitions, the song is plain boring and the one I skip every time. Besides me not liking this song, how is this a part of the answer to the why from the beginning? One part are the simple structures. After 2 or 3 runs, the songs lack the potential of excitement, for example, if compared to Azoth or Mugwa. They are foreseeable, even with varieties in speed over the mentioned melodies. I would call this easy listening black metal. The second part is that this is the same since 2001, when they released Diabolus Interium. The records are good and have strong songs, that's not it. Take a song like Stigmata. Killer. But if we neglect the individual sound of the instruments on the different records, there is no distinct separation between them. This is something I also criticize when it comes to Amon Amarth. Each song could easily be on each record since 2001 and it would fit. There's no really an evolution in their songwriting. At least that is my impression when I listen to the records. This lack of evolution makes them a bit like the TGV or the Shinkansen. Very impressive, but they rush by. And yes, it took me so long to pin it down on these 2 points. Nonetheless, the songs are good and typical Dark Funeral songs. Fans of the band will most likely not be disappointed. And even with the slight insipid aftertaste, I regularly return to this album and enjoy a few songs. Summed up, if you haven't bought it yet and you like the progressive, maybe postish side of black metal, you should probably rethink if this record is for you. But if you like Dark Funeral songs in the past, I'd say buying this one is a good investment. Cheers.